15 months and 4 days ago, I was in a hospital. I had just given birth to a 7-pound, 5-ounce baby boy, and I was living in that newborn baby bliss and haze. I was thrilled to not be pregnant anymore, as I had had a terrible pregnancy, but now my son was here, he was healthy, and I was living in all the excitement of what was to come, including him meeting his big sister and our family moving here to Evansville 3 weeks later. 15 days after my son was born, I once again found myself in a hospital. I had gone to the ER at 6 in the morning with severe abdominal pain. A CT scan followed by a colonoscopy later, a tumor was discovered in my ascending colon. 2 days after that, I had surgery to remove it. 7 days after that, I was finally released from the hospital. A day after that, we moved here to Evansville. And 2 weeks after that, I started chemotherapy. In April of this year, 6 months after starting chemo, I started feeling really sick, and we found out that the chemo didn't work, and I had metastasis to my liver and small bowel. A week after that, I started a new treatment, immunotherapy. 2 weeks after that, I was hospitalized due to incredible malnutrition. A day after that, I was put on TPN, which is nutrition that can go straight through your blood through an IV line to avoid eating if your digestive system doesn't work. And 5 days after that, I got really hungry. So I went ahead and tried to eat, and I kept eating. I didn't feel nauseous anymore as I had the previous 2 months, and I started to feel like my normal self. And then in July, and again last month in September, I had scans that proved the immunotherapy is working, and things are drastically improving. Now, I still have a long road ahead, and 2 scans haven't shown complete remission, but I am experiencing a good enough stretch of health that some friends convinced me to give this talk. So what I really want to share today is my perspective on cancer care, and you hear this word a lot as a patient, care. Now, my idea of cancer treatment prior to being diagnosed was that there was this wall of meds in the back of oncologist's office where doctors could cherry pick to try to create a magic potion combination to cure that person's cancer. What actually happens, for the most part, is a standard of care. So specific treatments go through rigorous trials to get FDA approval, and the result is a more formulaic treatment plan. You have stage 3 colon cancer, you start with this chemotherapy regimen, as I did. Now, this actually came to be quite comforting to me. The treatment I was getting had been proven to work best for my disease, and so I thought I was getting the best chance at a cure. What I also found, however, was that the non-medical treatment, so the emotional support people provide, seemed to also follow a standard of care. Folks had heard of the tried and true support mechanisms to offer someone going through cancer, and they really employed them readily. And this did not end up providing me with the same amount of comfort. So I want to address 3 specific groups now, and I'll announce them at the top of each to make it easy for you to come in and out of paying attention if you'd like. The first group I want to talk to are family and friends of someone with cancer, and this might include a lot of you in this room, actually. I was, and continue to be, showered with cards, texts, prayers, gift cards, books on cancer, casseroles from really supportive family and friends. Now, I will never complain about this. It has been humbling and beautiful and just really lovely to realize how well I'm loved. But often this wellspring of support somehow left me feeling more uncomfortable than comforted. While I was overcome with love and appreciation for my people, sometimes it simultaneously made me squirm. It's not that I didn't need some of this help, I did. I couldn't lift my daughter for weeks, and carrying my newborn son up and down the stairs was really challenging. Forget trying to cook for myself or do my own laundry. It's just the favorite kind of help for me in the world is exactly and specifically that which I ask for, nothing more or less. You simply must know your audience when you're trying to help, and I think some of my family and friends may have forgotten what a control freak I am and that immediate and visceral reaction to lend a helping hand. Here's what else I found about this care. It was so out of the ordinary. It made my whole situation feel so abnormal, and one thing I actually found so interesting was how normal cancer felt so quickly. The day you get diagnosed, and perhaps a few weeks after, is like a bomb going off. It's an explosion. But then the dust kind of starts to settle, and you look around and everything's really damaged, but you can kind of see through it and figure yourself out. And that's why a day after getting released from my initial hospital stay, my biggest annoyance was that my underwear drawer had somehow gotten lost in our move and was now in a storage facility piled under like our kitchen table and Christmas tree. And it's why when I watch this talk back, my first judgment isn't going to be about the merits of my message or how I feel it's contributing to conversations about healthcare or even how I feel you're receiving it. It's going to be about what I, as a woman, have been taught to judge first all my life, and that's whether I look thin enough in this outfit. Yeah, funny, but not funny. See, I felt like there was constantly this perception projected on me, even from family and friends, that once you get the diagnosis, you seize the day, and you don't sweat the small stuff, and you only think deep thoughts, and there's all these big moments, and you live like you're dying. And for me, that really wasn't true. You know, life went on so normally most of the time, with most of my day filled with changing diapers, getting a little toddler girl into her shoes, and like pretending to play school while scrolling through Instagram. And then there were just these little interruptions for cancer stuff. So allow me to give you some advice on talking to someone going through cancer. Maybe just limit the long, meaningful looks and the lingering hugs. All the things that scream, oh shit. Like, it really sucks to be you right now. Instead, try asking how they're doing in the humdrum way you might ask about their job or a house project they're working on or what their plans are for the weekend, because in that moment, their mind may be on something else entirely. And while cancer is an obvious and immovable part of their life that they don't mind acknowledging, your stares may make them feel the need to feign emotion in a time when they're actually feeling pretty steady, and then they may end up comforting you, and for God's sake, like we're in Target, you know? Like, and I'm alone, no kids are with me, so don't ruin it. Okay, group number 2. Did you remember we were doing groups? Next is medical professionals. So doctors, nurses, billing specialists, procedure schedulers of Evansville. It's really nice to see you again. Really made my way around your facilities the past couple months. I really want to thank you. You're in a tough and stressful job, and I have received just such excellent and compassionate care here. But like for us loudmouth patients, please don't lead with a line that goes something like this. First off, I'm just so sorry about what you're going through. This makes me feel like my disease is the worst in the world and I'm going to die imminently. There is nowhere I need to feel less special than in your hospital room. The most comforting thing in the world for me right now would be for you to pretend that I'm the 100th 31-year-old patient with stage 4 colon cancer that you've cured this year. Also, when I ask a question, and I'll ask a lot of them, avoid this face. I can tell when your eyes start to narrow and your brow starts to furrow, your head starts to tilt, but you take great care to keep your mouth like really neutral. There are few places more vulnerable than supine in a hospital bed. Not much makes you feel less powerful than being in bed, usually one of the most private and intimate spaces you can be, in a gown with no snaps, just like open in the back, and those like big, goofy gripper hospital socks, hooked via needle from your body to an IV pump. So when I'm asking questions, of which some will be intelligent and insightful and relevant, and some will be stupid and ridiculous, please just humor my efforts to create an equal power structure. Also included in this group are policymakers, drug manufacturers, insurance executives. Before we all start to squirm, I'll simply say this. Know that the patients you are serving are not just patients, so please don't think of them as such. In fact, most of us would identify as patients pretty far down the list behind our identities as friends, spouses, siblings, professionals, citizens. So when you make a commercial that shows a woman going through chemotherapy being read to by her male partner, and then make a parallel commercial where a man going through chemotherapy can still evidently complete a crossword puzzle on his own, know that there's a patient using your drug who identifies as a feminist as well and is currently making a mental note to ask her doctor if there's an alternative to your product. Know that we read our explanations of benefits and see that the drug we love so much that is currently saving our life is billed to our insurance every 4 weeks at a rate of $22,920. Now, we could obviously never afford this if our situation changed and there weren't protections for pre-existing conditions. Know that I know I'm part of one of the most privileged groups when it comes to healthcare access, and know that it kept me up at night thinking about others going through the same thing, without adequate insurance, without access to FMLA, with hourly jobs that could keep them from appointments, and without trusted friends and family members to watch their kids when they go. Know your life can literally mean life or death. Okay, so the final group I want to talk to are my fellow patients and any of you who might find yourself in that position in the future. Here I want to apologize if nothing I'm saying right now resonates with you. All of my tension with care as it's currently provided may be mine and mine alone. I went to therapy exactly one time in the past 15 months, though a lot of you might think a return trip is a pretty good idea for me. You're not wrong. But the therapist I saw said something really valuable, and I've thought about it a lot as I processed all this. She said that what she's found in her practice is that people handle crisis situations fundamentally the same way they handle everything else in their life. So if you find yourself feeling more uncomfortable with your care than comforted, don't be afraid to question it. Thank you.